Good morning, everybody. Oh, headache. Hold on, let me fix the Wi-Fi. Lay down. I was smart. I took her out to go potty before we started. We are starting on Exodus today. I wanted to get it started. Why is this hours? Maybe it's like, yeah, there we go. I was like, why is it level with the? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a bright and sunshiny day. Hey, it's always good when we order pizza because the day after you have pizza for breakfast. So I already had breakfast. Yep. I remember one time he ate his full pizza and half of mine. And I only had one that day because I wasn't that hungry. And he said, "Well, you can have the rest tomorrow." I went, "Yeah, that's true." And the next day, I'm like, "Well, there was maybe two pieces left." I said to him, "Were you hungry yesterday? So I'm sorry. I could order you another one." What are you doing? Okay. Oh, itchy. We're doing this one today. I think that's our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us for our trespasses. Forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Jehovah, I just realized by reading it, we did this yesterday, and we were supposed to do this one. And I'm going to read this one as well, because you're supposed to like alternate it or don't let it be the same exact thing day in and day out. So, our Father in heaven, may your name be kept holy. May your kingdom come soon. May your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today the food we need, and forgive us our sins as we have forgiven those who sin against us. And don't let us yield to temptation, but rescue us from the evil one. Dear Jehovah, thank you for another beautiful day on your beautiful earth, and thank you for allowing us to wake up today. And thank you for what you did for us in the past present and what you will do for us in the future. Please help the fallen people who need your help. Number one, Oprah Winfrey was rushed to the hospital. And please let her be okay, Joe. Please help her get better. Oh, it's not in here. I don't know if I should show you because I don't know if it'll be copyright, but a rapper was found dead, or I think it was a rapper. Please help that family. It's over here. Go get it. Go get it. Don't interrupt me. Well, please help that family and continue to help Kate, who has a heart problem and cancer. Cindy Lee, Lisa, Shannon Doherty, King Charles, Princess Kate, Jen Fred, Shannon, and Isabella Strahan all have cancer, different forms, different kinds. Please help them, give them physical and mental strength, so they can fight off their disease. Wow, I can't talk today. And Jehovah, please put your healing hands on all these people I mentioned today to heal them. Celine Dion, she's coming back to singing. Just give her mental and physical strength to get through that. It probably will be hard. And everybody in the world, whoever hears this, she will sound different. Okay? Just don't put it down for it. She will sound different. Like nasally. Okay. Your hands, right? I'll sound nasally too. Yes. Continue to help Jenny. Oh, help Celine Dion on her, stiff person syndrome, please. And she's been suffering it for like 17 years. She knows when it started. Ivy Josephine, lay down. Sorry. Sheesh. Continue to help. Celine Dion with the stiff person syndrome. Give her physical, mental strength so she can fight that disease off, which she's fighting like a bull to attack on the red cape. Please continue to help Jenny, Christina, and Tiffany with their health issues, as well as Robin, and help her two grandsons who lost their mommy. Continue to help Miss Deanne find internal rest and help her daughters get through that and find a permanent home to live in. Continue to help Arnie, Vicky and family, Carol and their mom. Please help them. In Jesus' name, amen. Exodus chapter 1.
Exodus chapter 1. Now these are the names of Israel's sons who came into Egypt with Jacob, each man who came with his household: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah; Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin; Dan and Naphtali; Gad and Asher. And all those who were born to Jacob were 70 people. but Joseph was already in Egypt. Joseph eventually died, and also all his brothers, and all that generation. And the Israelites became fruitful and began to increase greatly, and they kept on multiplying and growing mightier at an extraordinary rate, so that the land became filled with them. In time, there arose over Egypt a new king, one who did not know Joseph. So he said to his people,
Look, the people of Israel are more numerous and mightier than we are. Let us deal shrewdly with them. Otherwise, they will continue to multiply, and if a war breaks out, they will join our enemies and fight against us and leave the country.
So they appointed chiefs of forced labor over them to oppress them with hard labor, and they built storage cities for Pharaoh, namely Pithom and Raamses. But the more they would oppress them, the more they would multiply, and the more they kept spreading out. So they felt sick with fear because of the Israelites. Consequently, the Egyptians forced the Israelites into harsh slavery. They made their life bitter with hard labor as they worked with clay mortar and bricks and in every form of slavery in the field. Yes, they made them toil in harsh conditions in every form of slavery. Later, the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah, and he told them,
When you help the Hebrew women to give birth, and you see them on the stool for childbirth, you must put the child to death if it is a son. But if it is a daughter, she must live.
However, the midwives feared the true God, and they did not do what the king of Egypt told them. Instead, they would keep the male children alive. In time, the king of Egypt called the midwives and said to them,
Why have you kept the male children alive?
The midwives said to Pharaoh,
The Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women. They are lively and have already given birth before the midwife can come into them.
So God dealt well with the midwives, and the people kept increasing and becoming very mighty. And because the midwives had feared the true God, he later gave them families. Finally, Pharaoh commanded all his people,
You are to throw every newborn son of the Hebrews into the Nile River, but you are to keep every daughter alive.
Chapter 2. About that time, a certain man of the house of Levi married a daughter of Levi, and the woman became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw how beautiful he was, she kept him concealed for 3 months. When she was no longer able to conceal him, she took a papyrus basket and coated it with bitumen and pitch, and put the child in it, and placed it among the reeds by the bank of the Nile River. But his sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. When Pharaoh's daughter came down to bathe in the Nile, her female attendants were walking by the side of the Nile, and she caught sight of the basket in the middle of the reeds. She immediately sent her slave girl to get it. When she opened it, she saw the child, and the boy was crying. She felt compassion for him, but she said,
This is one of the children of the Hebrews.
Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter,
Shall I go and call a nursing woman from the Hebrews to nurse the child for you?
Pharaoh's daughter said to her,
Go.
At once the girl went and called the child's mother. Pharaoh's daughter then said to her,
Take this child with you and nurse him for me, and I will pay you.
So the woman took the child and nursed him. When the child grew older, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became a son to her. She named him Moses, and said,
It is because I have drawn him out of the water.
Now in those days, after Moses had become an adult, he went out to his brothers to look at the burdens they were bearing. And he caught sight of an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his brothers. So he looked this way and that, And seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. But he went out on the following day, and there were 2 Hebrew men fighting with each other. So he said to the one in the wrong, "Why do you strike your companion?" At this he said,
Who appointed you as a prince and a judge over us? Are you planning to kill me just as you killed the Egyptian?
Moses now was afraid and said, "Surely the matter has become known." Then Pharaoh heard about it, and he attempted to kill Moses. But Moses ran away from Pharaoh and went to dwell in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and these came to draw water and to fill the troughs to water their father's flock. But as usual, the shepherds came and drove them away. At this Moses got up and helped the women and watered their flock. When they came home to their father Reuel, he exclaimed,
How is it that you have come home so quickly today?
They replied,
A certain Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds, and he even drew water for us and watered the flock.
He said to his daughters,
But where is he? Why did you leave the man behind? Call him, so that he may eat with us.
After that, Moses consented to stay with the man, and he gave his daughter Zipporah to Moses in marriage.
Zipporah?
Later she bore a son, and he named him Gershom,
Zipporah.
for he said,
I like that name.
I have become a foreign resident in a foreign land. After a long time, the king of Egypt died, but the Israelites continued to groan because of the slavery and to cry out in complaint. And their cry for help because of the slavery kept going up to the true God. In time, God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So God looked on the Israelites, and God took notice. Chapter 3. Moses became a shepherd of the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. While he was leading the flock to the west side of the wilderness, he eventually came to the mountain of the true God, to Horeb. Then Jehovah's angel appeared to him in a flame of fire in the midst of a thorn bush. As he kept looking, he saw that the thorn bush was on fire, and yet the thorn bush was not consumed. So Moses said, I will go over to inspect this unusual sight, to see why the thorn bush does not burn up. When Jehovah saw that he went over to look, God called to him out of the thorn bush and said, Moses, Moses. To which he said, Here I am. Then he said, Do not come any nearer. Remove your sandals from your feet, because the place where you are standing is holy ground. He went on to say, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Then Moses hid his face, because he was afraid to look at the true God. Jehovah added, I have certainly seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt, and I have heard their outcry because of those who force them to work. I well know the pains they suffer. I will go down to rescue them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land, to a land good and spacious, a land flowing with milk and honey, the territory of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now look, the outcry of the people of Israel has reached me, and I have seen also the harsh way that the Egyptians are oppressing them. Now come, I will send you to Pharaoh, and you will bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. However, Moses said to the true God, Who am I, that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? To this he said, I will prove to be with you, and this is the sign for you, that it was I who sent you.
No.
After you have brought the people out of Egypt, you people will serve the true God on this mountain. But Moses said to the true God, Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your forefathers has sent me to you. And they say to me, what is his name? What should I say to them? So God said to Moses, I will become what I choose to become. And he added, this is what you are to say to the Israelites. I will become has sent me to you. Then God said once more to Moses, this is what you are to say to the Israelites. Jehovah, the God of your forefathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is how I am to be remembered from generation to generation. Now go and gather the elders of Israel, and say to them, Jehovah, the God of your forefathers, has appeared to me, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he said, I have certainly taken notice of you, and of what is being done to you in Egypt. So I say, I will take you away from affliction at the hands of the Egyptians, to the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, to a land flowing with milk and honey. They will certainly listen to your voice, and you will go, you and the elders of Israel, to the king of Egypt. And you men should say to him, Jehovah, the God of the Hebrews, has communicated with us. So please, let us make a 3-day journey into the wilderness, so that we may sacrifice to Jehovah our God. But I myself well know that the king of Egypt will not give you permission to go, unless a mighty hand compels him.
Lay down.
So I will have to stretch out my hand and strike Egypt with all my extraordinary acts that I will do in it. And after that, he will send you out. And I will give this people favor in the eyes of the Egyptians. And when you go, you will by no means go empty-handed. Each woman must ask her neighbor and the woman lodging in her house for articles of silver and of gold, as well as clothing. And you will put them on your sons and your daughters, and you will plunder the Egyptians. Chapter 4. However, Moses answered, but suppose they do not believe me, and do not listen to my voice, for they will say, Jehovah did not appear to you. Then Jehovah said to him, what is that in your hand? He answered, a rod. He said, throw it on the ground. So he threw it on the ground, and it became a serpent, and Moses fled from it. Jehovah now said to Moses, reach out your hand and seize it by the tail. So he reached out and seized it, and it became a rod in his hand. God then said, this is so that they may believe that Jehovah, the God of their forefathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you. Jehovah said to him once more, put your hand, please, into the upper fold of your garment. So he put his hand into the fold of his garment. When he drew it out, why, his hand was stricken with leprosy like snow. Then he said, return your hand into the upper fold of your garment. So he returned his hand into his garment. When he drew it out of the garment, it was restored like the rest of his flesh. He said, if they will not believe you or pay attention to the first sign, then they will certainly heed the next sign. Still, even if they will not believe these 2 signs and refuse to listen to your voice, you will take some water from the Nile River and pour it out on the dry land. And the water that you take from the Nile will become blood on the dry land. Moses now said to Jehovah, pardon me, Jehovah, but I have never been a fluent speaker, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. For I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. Jehovah said to him, who made a mouth for man? Or who makes them speechless, deaf, clear-sighted, or blind? Is it not I, Jehovah? So go now, and I will be with you as you speak, and I will teach you what you should say." But he said, "Pardon me, Jehovah. Please send anyone whom you want to send." Then Jehovah's anger blazed against Moses, and he said, "What about your brother Aaron, the Levite? I know that he can speak very well, and he is now on his way here to meet you. When he sees you, his heart will rejoice. So you must speak to him and put the words in his mouth, and I will be with you and him as you speak, and I will teach you men what to do. He will speak for you to the people, and he will be your spokesman, and you will serve as God to him. And you will take this rod in your hand and perform the signs with it." So Moses went back to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said to him, "I want to go, please, and return to my brothers who are in Egypt, to see whether they are still alive." Jethro said to Moses,
Go in peace.
After that, Jehovah said to Moses in Midian, "Go, return to Egypt, because all the men who are seeking to kill you are dead." Then Moses took his wife and his sons and lifted them onto a donkey, and he started back to the land of Egypt. Moreover, Moses took the rod of the true God in his hand. Then Jehovah said to Moses, "After you have returned to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the miracles that I have empowered you to do. But I will allow his heart to become obstinate, and he will not send the people away. You must say to Pharaoh, 'This is what Jehovah says: Israel is my son, my firstborn. I say to you, send my son away, so that he may serve me. But if you refuse to send him away, I'm going to kill your son, your firstborn.'" Now on the road at the lodging place, Jehovah met him and was seeking to put him to death. Finally, Zipporah took a flint and circumcised her son, and caused his foreskin to touch his feet, and said,
It is because you are a bridegroom of blood to me.
So he let him go. At that time she said, "A bridegroom of blood," because of the circumcision. Then Jehovah said to Aaron, "Go into the wilderness to meet Moses." So he went and met him at the mountain of the true God, and greeted him with a kiss. And Moses told Aaron all the words of Jehovah, who had sent him, and all the signs that he had commanded him to do. After that, Moses and Aaron went and gathered all the elders of the Israelites. Aaron told them all the words that Jehovah had spoken to Moses, and he performed the signs before the eyes of the people. At this, the people believed. When they heard that Jehovah had turned his attention to the Israelites, and that he had seen their affliction, they bowed down and prostrated themselves. Chapter 5. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went in and said to Pharaoh,
"This is what Jehovah, the God of Israel, says. Send my people away, so that they may celebrate a festival to me in the wilderness."
But Pharaoh said,
"Who is Jehovah, that I should obey his voice to send Israel away? I do not know Jehovah at all. And what is more, I will not send Israel away."
But they said,
"The God of the Hebrews has communicated with us. Please, we want to make a 3-day journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to Jehovah our God. Otherwise, he will strike us with disease or with the sword."
The king of Egypt replied to them,
Why is it, Moses and Aaron, that you are taking the people away from their work? Return to your labor.
And Pharaoh continued,
Look at how many people of the land there are, and you would have them rest from their labor.
That same day, Pharaoh commanded the taskmasters and their foremen,
You must no longer give straw to the people to make bricks, Let them go and gather straw for themselves. But you must still impose on them the same quota of bricks as they made in the past. Do not reduce it for them, for they are relaxing. That is why they are crying out, "We want to go. We want to sacrifice to our God." Make them work harder and keep them busy so that they will not pay attention to lies.
So the taskmasters and their foremen went out and said to the people,
Here is what Pharaoh has said. I am giving you no more straw. Go and get your own straw for yourselves wherever you can find it. But your work will not be reduced at all.
Then the people scattered throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble for straw. And the taskmasters kept urging them,
You must each finish your work every day, just as when straw was provided.
Also the foremen of the Israelites, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had appointed over them, were beaten. They asked them,
Why did you not reach the quota of bricks that you used to make? It happened both yesterday and today.
So the foreman of the Israelites went in and complained to Pharaoh.
Why are you treating your servants this way? No straw is given to your servants. Yet they are saying to us, Make bricks. Your servants are beaten, but your own people are at fault.
But he said,
You are relaxing. You are relaxing. That is why you are saying, "We want to go. We want to sacrifice to Jehovah." So now go. Get back to work. No straw will be given to you, but you must still produce your quota of bricks.
Then the foreman of the Israelites saw that they were in serious trouble because of the order, "You must not reduce your daily quota of bricks at all." After that, they met up with Moses and Aaron, who were standing there to meet them as they came out from Pharaoh. At once they said to them,
May Jehovah look upon you and judge, since you have made Pharaoh and his servants despise us, and you have put a sword in their hand to kill us.
Then Moses turned to Jehovah and said, "Jehovah, why have you afflicted this people? Why have you sent me? From the time that I went in before Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has dealt worse with this people, and you have certainly not rescued your people."
Sorry. The whole thing was not scrolling.
Chapter 6. So Jehovah said to Moses, "Now you will see what I will do to Pharaoh. A mighty hand will force him to send them away, and a mighty hand will force him to drive them out of his land." Then God said to Moses, "I am Jehovah, and I used to appear to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as God Almighty. But with regard to my name Jehovah, I did not make myself known to them. I also established my covenant with them, to give them the land of Canaan, the land in which they lived as foreigners. Now I myself have heard the groaning of the people of Israel, whom the Egyptians are enslaving, and I remember my covenant. Therefore say to the Israelites, I am Jehovah, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and rescue you from their slavery. And I will reclaim you with an outstretched arm, and with great judgments. And I will take you in as my people, and I will be your God. And you will certainly know that I am Jehovah your God, who is bringing you out from under the burdens of Egypt. And I will bring you into the land that I swore with an oath to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I will give it to you as something to possess. I am Jehovah." Moses later gave this message to the Israelites, but they did not listen to Moses because of their discouragement and because of the harsh slavery. Then Jehovah spoke to Moses, saying, "Go in and tell Pharaoh, Egypt's king."
Sorry guys, we gotta take a break. She has to go potty. Hide Joe. No barking. No barking. Hide. Go potty. Go potty. Let's go. Come on. Lay down, no interrupting. Up.
That he should send the Israelites away out of his land. However, Moses replied to Jehovah, "Look, the Israelites have not listened to me. How will Pharaoh ever listen to me, as I speak with difficulty?" But Jehovah again told Moses and Aaron what commands to give to the Israelites and to Pharaoh, Egypt's king, in order to bring the Israelites out of the land of Egypt. These are the heads of the house of their fathers. The sons of Reuben, Israel's firstborn, were Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. These are the families of Reuben. The sons of Simeon were Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shael, the son of a Canaanite woman. These are the families of Simeon. These are the names of the sons of Levi, according to their family descents: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The length of Levi's life was 137 years. The sons of Gershon were Libni and Shimei, according to their families. The sons of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. The length of Kohath's life was 133 years. The sons of Merari were Mahli and Mushai. These were the families of the Levites, according to their family descents. Now Amram took Jochebed, his father's sister, as his wife. She bore him Aaron and Moses. The length of Amram's life was 137 years. The sons of Izhar were Korah, Nepheg, and Zikri. The sons of Uzziel were Mishael, Elzaphan, and Sithri. Now Aaron took Elisheba, Aminadab's daughter, the sister of Nahshon, as his wife. She bore him Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. The sons of Korah were Asir, Elkanah, and Abiasaph. These were the families of the Korahites. Eleazar, Aaron's son, took one of the daughters of Putiel as his wife. She bore him Phinehas. These are the heads of the paternal houses of the Levites, according to their families. This is the Aaron and Moses to whom Jehovah said, "Bring the people of Israel out of the land of Egypt, company by company." It was they who spoke to Pharaoh, Egypt's king, to bring the people of Israel out of Egypt. It was this Moses and Aaron. On that day when Jehovah spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt, Jehovah told Moses, "I am Jehovah. Speak to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, everything I am speaking to you." Then Moses said before Jehovah, "Look, I speak with difficulty, so how will Pharaoh ever listen to me?" Verse 7. Jehovah then said to Moses, "See, I have made you like God to Pharaoh, and Aaron your own brother will become your prophet. You are to repeat everything that I will command you, and Aaron your brother will speak to Pharaoh, and he will send the Israelites away from his land. As for me, I will allow Pharaoh's heart to become obstinate, and I will multiply my signs and my miracles in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh will not listen to you, and I will lay my hand upon Egypt and bring my multitudes, my people, the Israelites, out of the land of Egypt with great judgments. And the Egyptians will certainly know that I am Jehovah when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring the Israelites out from among them." Moses and Aaron did what Jehovah had commanded them. They did just so. Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron was 83 years old when they spoke to Pharaoh. Jehovah now said to Moses and Aaron,
Sorry.
"If Pharaoh says to you, 'Perform a miracle,' then tell Aaron, 'Take your rod and throw it down before Pharaoh. It will become a big snake.'" So Moses and Aaron went into Pharaoh and did exactly as Jehovah had commanded. Aaron threw his rod down before Pharaoh and his servants, and it became a big snake. However, Pharaoh summoned the wise men and the sorcerers, and the magic-practicing priests of Egypt also did the same thing with their magic. Each one threw down his rod, and they became big snakes. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. Still, Pharaoh's heart became obstinate, and he did not listen to them, just as Jehovah had said. Then Jehovah said to Moses, "Pharaoh's heart is unresponsive. He has refused to send the people away. Go to Pharaoh in the morning. Look, he is going out to the water, and you should station yourself to meet him by the edge of the Nile River, and take with you in your hand the rod that turned into a serpent. And you must say to him, 'Jehovah, the God of the Hebrews, has sent me to you. And he says, send my people away, so that they may serve me in the wilderness. But you have not obeyed until now.' This is what Jehovah says. 'By this you will know that I am Jehovah. Here I am striking the water that is in the Nile River with the rod that is in my hand, and it will turn into blood. And the fish that are in the Nile will die, and the Nile will stink, and the Egyptians will find it impossible to drink water from the Nile.' Then Jehovah said to Moses, 'Say to Aaron, take your rod and stretch out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over its rivers, over its canals, over its marshes, and over all its reservoirs, that they may become blood. There will be blood in all the land of Egypt, even in the wooden and stone containers.' Immediately Moses and Aaron did just as Jehovah had commanded. He lifted up the rod and struck the water that was in the Nile River before the eyes of Pharaoh and his servants, and all the water that was in the river was turned into blood. And the fish that were in the river died, and the river began to stink, and the Egyptians were unable to drink water from the Nile, and there was blood throughout the land of Egypt. Nevertheless, the magic-practicing priests of Egypt did the same thing with their secret arts, so that Pharaoh's heart continued to be obstinate, and he did not listen to them, just as Jehovah had said. Then Pharaoh returned to his house, and he did not take this to heart either. So all the Egyptians were digging all around the Nile for water to drink, because they could not drink any water of the Nile. And 7 full days passed after Jehovah struck the Nile.
Wow.
Chapter 8. Then Jehovah said to Moses, "Go into Pharaoh and say to him, 'This is what Jehovah says. Send my people away so that they may serve me. If you keep refusing to send them away, I will plague all your territory with frogs. and the Nile River will swarm with frogs, and they will come up and enter into your house, into your bedroom, on your bed, into the houses of your servants, and on your people, into your ovens, and into your kneading troughs. On you, on your people, and on all your servants, the frogs will come up. Jehovah later said to Moses, "Say to Aaron, stretch out your hand with your rod over the rivers, the Nile canals, and the marshes, and make the frogs come up over the land of Egypt." So Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs began to come up and to cover the land of Egypt. However, the magic practicing priests did the same thing by their secret arts, and they too made the frogs come up over the land of Egypt. Pharaoh then called Moses and Aaron and said,
Plead with Jehovah to remove the frogs from me and my people, as I want to send the people away so that they may sacrifice to Jehovah.
Then Moses said to Pharaoh,
I leave to you the honor of telling me when I should plead to have the frogs removed from you, your servants, your people, and your houses. Only in the Nile River will they be left.
To this he said,
Tomorrow.
So he said,
It will be according to your word, so that you may know that there is no one else like Jehovah our God. The frogs will depart from you, your houses, your servants, and your people. They will be left only in the Nile.
So Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses pleaded with Jehovah about the frogs that he had brought upon Pharaoh. Then Jehovah did as Moses asked, and the frogs began to die in the houses, the courtyards, and the fields. They were piling them up in countless heaps, and the land began to stink. When Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart, and he refused to listen to them, just as Jehovah had said. Jehovah now said to Moses, Say to Aaron, stretch out your rod and strike the dust of the earth, and it must become gnats in all the land of Egypt. And they did this. Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod and struck the dust of the earth, and the gnats came on man and beast. All the dust of the earth became gnats in all the land of Egypt. The magic practicing priests tried to do the same and produced gnats by their secret arts, but they could not. And the gnats came on man and beast. So the magic practicing priests said to Pharaoh, It is the finger of God. But Pharaoh's heart continued to be obstinate, and he did not listen to them, just as Jehovah had said. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Get up early in the morning and station yourself in front of Pharaoh. Look, he is coming out to the water, and you must say to him, This is what Jehovah has said. Send my people away so that they may serve me. But if you do not send my people away, I will send on you, your servants and your people, and into your houses the gadfly. And the houses of Egypt will be full of gadflies, and they will even cover the ground they stand on. On that day, I will certainly set apart the land of Goshen, where my people are dwelling. No gadflies will exist there. And by this you will know that I, Jehovah, am here in the land. And I will make a distinction between my people and your people. Tomorrow this sign will take place. And Jehovah did so, and heavy swarms of gadflies began to invade the house of Pharaoh and the houses of his servants and all the land of Egypt. The land was ruined by the gadflies. Finally, Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron and said,
Go, sacrifice to your God in the land.
But Moses said,
It is not proper to do so, because what we would sacrifice to Jehovah our God would be detestable to the Egyptians. If we would make a sacrifice that was detestable to the Egyptians right before their eyes, would they not stone us? We will make a 3-day journey into the wilderness, and there we will sacrifice to Jehovah our God, just as he has said to us.
Pharaoh now said,
I will send you away to sacrifice to Jehovah your God in the wilderness. Only you must not go so far away. Plead in my behalf.
Then Moses said,
Now I am going away from you, and I will plead with Jehovah, and the gadflies will depart from Pharaoh, his servants, and his people tomorrow. But Pharaoh must stop trifling with us by refusing to send the people away to sacrifice to Jehovah.
Moses then went out from Pharaoh and pleaded with Jehovah. So Jehovah did according to Moses' word, and the gadflies departed from Pharaoh, his servants, and his people. Not one was left. However, Pharaoh again hardened his heart and did not send the people away. Chapter 9. So Jehovah said to Moses, Go into Pharaoh and say to him, This is what Jehovah, the God of the Hebrews, has said. Send my people away so that they may serve me. But if you refuse to send them away and you keep holding them, look, Jehovah's hand will come against your livestock in the field. On the horses, the donkeys, the camels, the herd, and the flock, there will be a devastating plague. And Jehovah will certainly make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Egypt, and nothing that belongs to the Israelites will die. Moreover, Jehovah set an appointed time, saying, Tomorrow Jehovah will do this in the land. And Jehovah did this on the very next day, and all sorts of livestock of Egypt began to die, but not one of Israel's livestock died. When Pharaoh inquired, look, not so much as one of Israel's livestock had died. Nevertheless, Pharaoh's heart continued to be unresponsive, and he did not send the people away. Jehovah then said to Moses and Aaron, Fill both of your hands with soot from a kiln, and Moses must throw it into the air in front of Pharaoh. And it will become a fine dust on all the land of Egypt, and it will become festering boils on man and beast in all the land of Egypt. So they took soot from a kiln and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses tossed it into the air, and it became festering boils, breaking out on man and beast. The magic practicing priests were unable to stand before Moses because of the boils, for they had developed on the magic practicing priests and on all the Egyptians. But Jehovah allowed Pharaoh's heart to become obstinate, and he did not listen to them, just as Jehovah had told Moses. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Get up early in the morning and station yourself in front of Pharaoh, and say to him, This is what Jehovah the God of the Hebrews has said. Send my people away so that they may serve me. For now I am directing all my blows to strike your heart, your servants, and your people, so that you may know that there is no one like me in all the earth. For by now I could have thrust my hand out to strike you and your people with a devastating plague, and you would have been wiped out from the earth. But for this very reason I have kept you in existence, to show you my power and to have my name declared in all the earth. Are you still behaving arrogantly against my people by not sending them away? Here I will cause a very great hail to rain down tomorrow, about this time, such as has never occurred in Egypt from the day it was founded until now. Therefore, send word to bring all your livestock and all that is yours in the field under shelter. Every man and beast caught in the field and not brought into the house will die when the hail comes down on them. Anyone among Pharaoh's servants who feared Jehovah's word quickly brought his own servants and his livestock into the houses. But whoever did not take Jehovah's word to heart left his servants and his livestock in the field. Jehovah now said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward the heavens, so that hail may come down on all the land of Egypt, on man and beast, and all the vegetation of the field in the land of Egypt." So Moses stretched out his rod toward the heavens, and Jehovah sent thunder and hail, and fire fell down to the earth. And Jehovah kept making it rain down hail on the land of Egypt. There was hail, and there was fire flashing in the midst of the hail. It was very heavy. There had never been any like it in the land since Egypt had become a nation. The hail struck everything in the field throughout the land of Egypt, from man to beast, and it struck down all the vegetation and shattered all the trees of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the Israelites were, there was no hail. So Pharaoh sent for Moses and Aaron and said to them,
I have sinned this time. Jehovah is righteous, and I and my people are in the wrong. Plead with Jehovah that there may be an end to God's thunder and hail. Then I will be willing to send you away, and you will not stay any longer.
So Moses said to him,
As soon as I go out of the city, I will spread out my hands before Jehovah. The thunder will stop, and the hail will not continue any longer, so that you may know that the earth belongs to Jehovah. But as for you and your servants, I know already that even then you will not fear Jehovah God.
Now the flax and the barley had been struck down, because the barley was in the ear, and the flax had flower buds. But the wheat and the spelt had not been struck down, because they were later crops. Moses now went out of the city from Pharaoh, and spread out his hands before Jehovah, and the thunder and the hail stopped, and the rain quit pouring down on the earth. When Pharaoh saw that the rain, the hail, and the thunder had stopped, he sinned again, and hardened his heart, he as well as his servants. And Pharaoh's heart continued obstinate, and he did not send the Israelites away, just as Jehovah had stated through Moses. Chapter 10. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Go into Pharaoh, for I have allowed his heart and the hearts of his servants to become unresponsive, so that I may display these signs of mine right before him, and in order that you may declare to your sons and your grandsons how severely I have dealt with Egypt, and what signs I have performed among them. And you will certainly know that I am Jehovah. So Moses and Aaron went into Pharaoh and said to him,
This is what Jehovah, the God of the Hebrews, has said. How long will you refuse to submit to me? Send my people away, so that they may serve me. For if you keep refusing to send my people away, here I am bringing locusts within your boundaries tomorrow, and they will cover the surface of the earth, and it will not be possible to see the ground. They will eat up what escaped the hail and was left for you, and they will eat all your trees that are growing in the field. They will fill your houses, the houses of all your servants, and the houses of all Egypt, to an extent that your fathers and your grandfathers never saw, from the time they have been in this land until today.
With that he turned and went out from Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh's servants said to him,
How long will this man continue to menace us? Send the men away, so that they may serve Jehovah their God.
Do you not yet realize that Egypt has been ruined?
So Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them,
Go, serve Jehovah your God. But just who will be going?
Then Moses said,
We will go with our young people, our old people, our sons, our daughters, our sheep and our cattle, because we will hold a festival to Jehovah.
He said to them,
If I ever send you and your children away, then Jehovah is indeed with you. It is clear that you intend to do something evil. No, only your men may go and serve Jehovah, for that is what you requested.
With that, they were driven out from before Pharaoh. Jehovah now said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, so that they may come up over the land of Egypt and eat up all the vegetation of the land, everything that the hail has let remain. At once Moses stretched out his rod over the land of Egypt, and Jehovah caused an east wind to blow on the land, all that day and all night. The morning came, and the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts came up over all the land of Egypt
Carol.
and settled down on the whole territory of Egypt. It was extremely severe. Never before had there been so many locusts, nor would there ever be so many again. They covered the surface of the entire land, and the land grew dark with them. They devoured all the vegetation of the land, and all the fruit of the trees that the hail had left. Nothing green was left on the trees, or on the vegetation of the field in all the land of Egypt. So Pharaoh quickly called Moses and Aaron and said,
I have sinned against Jehovah your God and against you. Now please, pardon my sin, just this once, and plead with Jehovah your God that he just remove this deadly plague from upon me.
So he went out from Pharaoh and pleaded with Jehovah. Then Jehovah caused the wind to shift, and it became a very stiff west wind, and it carried the locusts away and drove them into the Red Sea. Not a single locust remained in all the territory of Egypt. However, Jehovah allowed Pharaoh's heart to become obstinate, and he did not send the Israelites away. Jehovah then said to Moses, Stretch out your hand toward the heavens, so that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, a darkness so thick that it can be felt. Moses immediately stretched out his hand toward the heavens, and there was a dense darkness in all the land of Egypt for 3 days. They did not see one another, and none of them got up from where they were for 3 days. But all the Israelites had light in their dwellings. Pharaoh then called Moses and said,
Go, serve Jehovah. Only your sheep and your cattle will remain behind. Even your children may go with you.
But Moses said,
You yourself will also provide us with sacrifices and burnt offerings, and we will offer them to Jehovah our God. Our livestock will also go with us. Not an animal will be allowed to remain, because we will be using some of them to worship Jehovah our God, and we do not know what we will offer in worship to Jehovah until we arrive there.
So Jehovah allowed Pharaoh's heart to become obstinate, and he did not consent to send them away. Pharaoh said to him,
Get out of my sight. Make sure that you do not try to see my face again, for on the day you see my face, you will die.
To this Moses said,
Just as you have spoken, I will not try to see your face again.
Is that it from Joe? Hold on, because I think I might just. I don't know. We'll save that for tomorrow. We'll have another reading tomorrow. So that is, Carol wants me to read one. I'm just waiting for her. I mean, this is ridiculous. She's not here for the whole thing. And she's not even here now. Well, I'm gonna leave since she's not here. Because it says 0 people. So I love you guys. Love, don't judge. Peace out.